And we are back. And I'm hearing myself.
I'm hearing you too.
I'm hearing an echo. Where is it? Oh,
it's because you have X open. Maybe you shut it.
So I'm in those spaces. I need to step out.
Coming in live.
All right.
From the metaverse.
I closed something. It worked. Oh, no, I'm still hearing myself. Echoing.
Make sure you don't have the X tab open.
Okay. I never muted a tab. Can I close? No, probably not. Well, guys, a couple growing pains here.
Just a few. Good to be here.
Good.
We're going to be doing these regularly, bi-weekly at the very least, in the same format that we have been in the past, which is to use this both as a time to talk announcements, product development, where things are, where they're going, give any newsworthy tidbits. Also bringing in other people from other projects to interview, talk about the space writ large, and then service any questions that we receive through the Discord or otherwise. I really like the idea of having a regular queue of just an ongoing AMA to address anything that anybody wants to talk about, be it specific details about the product or large strategic questions or superficial personal ones too. Why not? We are also, perhaps you see, introducing Maya of Ben Zimra, new lead of marketing at Nirvana. I'm taking a minute to just think how grateful this level up has been in the last few weeks. You can see that we have a new brand, new production. You're probably seeing new faces and voices in the Discord. And this is all in the service of building this product to really be best in class, a household name, something that is a dominant voice in crypto generally, not just on Solana, not just on any old chain, but rather inspires a new way of doing digital finance. So we're very lucky to have Maya and the Ben Zimra marketing team with us. Maya, would you like to give an introduction?
Sure. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And really just an honor to be working with you, Sid and Colin. Happy to give the full intro, a little bit about myself and things like that. Are we ready for that?
Yeah, I got my audio fixed. I don't know if I just closed the spaces tab.
Okay.
I couldn't figure out the mute. But look, I can hear you. You can hear me. I hope the world hears us both. And yeah, love to get into it. I think we should start with how we met, because I thought that was kind of cool. Like, where did you? Because you heard about Nirvana, but we met before that. There's a bit of a history there. So, well, you and I didn't, but my fund and you kind of crossed paths in Dubai, came full circle. I mean, I should let you tell the story, but you guys are holding some ANA tokens from that mistake.
I mean, actually met some of your fund on a yacht in Dubai. It always has to start like that, right? These crypto.
Yeah, we were on a yacht in Dubai, which sounds way too fancy, to be honest. It was a sponsored event for all of our portcos. Yeah, everyone came. It was a great thing. And in the end, we paid a little money to get it done, but not as much as you'd think. It was a fun thing. Everyone was, the projects, they got some stage time. Like, it was really cool. But anyways.
So a year ago, met with the wonderful Omar. And very grateful to him. He's been a bit of a mentor of mine. He's a wonderful guy. And we started working with Ample, as you know, and started actually collaborating with Magnus, and Ben Zimmer and Co are partnered with Magnus. But yeah, basically we discovered Nirvana and was very bullish on the tech and started to provide a bit of capital there from our treasury, staking, and that's basically where we got aped into Nirvana. I was watching you guys very closely, and then obviously we were speaking just from a purely admirable point of view as to how much we were excited about you guys, doing real DeFi on Solana as well, which is also very nice to see. And then obviously we had a call, and kind of the rest is history. So yeah, very grateful for that.
And at that point, I don't even think I was on the team here. There's a little build up to that as well, and spending so much time with Sid off and on, and finally just like, hey, would you like to join? Like, we could use this energy in us. And I came in, and then it was maybe a week or two later that Omar reached out, and he's like, hey, you should talk to Maya. So we're here. We've been at it for about a month now with you in-house, and just, getting into the outward facing part of that. And I'd love to hear, more about your background. I think everyone would love to hear that. And so it's all yours. Hit us with it. Who are you? Where'd you come from? What have you done?
Love it. Let's go. All right. So I have been doing marketing since I was 16. I'm 28 years old now. So pretty much 11 plus years of primarily digital marketing, and fell into crypto relatively quickly after my marketing career started. Probably one of the oldest running marketers in the space, and have got 7 years of experience, very integrated into the Web3 industry, primarily in leadership roles. But yeah, my career started in like the financial capital of London, in Canary Wharf. I was working with connecting high net worth individuals to services, and through that experience got exposed to crypto. And my story into crypto is a story maybe for another day, but was a very interesting one. I started off as an apprentice a very long time ago, and then kind of worked my way up, doing very long hours and just doing all I could to really get to the top. Ended up becoming a CMO at the age of 27. But yeah, so through the crypto industry, it wasn't really an industry when I started, but I found very quickly that as soon as financial instruments went on chain, that the DeFi realm is really where I wanted to be. Just the fact that it opened up this whole new opportunity to singular individuals to be able to basically act as their own hedge fund was very interesting for me. I'm very passionate about being empowered, especially through like financial opportunity. So that was a big moment for me, realizing that we're actually taking the power away from these big institutions and actually being able to leverage these opportunities that happen in finance that was usually much more like backdoor and who you knew. So,
exclusive.
Yeah. So for me, that's what really drew me towards DeFi. I started off in my career working with an exchange, helped them getting regulated. They were the first regulated exchange in the UK, kind of built their whole marketing department from 0 to 100. And they ended up having very recently an 8-figure acquisition. Was a consultant at CryptoSlate for a while, helped them increase their growth by like 30% in 3 months. I worked with one of the first DeFi protocols that ever really existed, Alliance Block, and ran a campaign that basically pumped their token like to $1. That was like a huge moment for us, and saw exponential growth there. Also single-handedly built institutional arms for DeFi protocols. My background is quite retail and institutional focused. So coming from like corporate worlds, I brought that expertise in and helped kind of professionalize a lot of these protocols. And was recently CMO at a neobank, and was the main driver of one of a very, very successful campaign where we drove 100,000 users to the platform that were paid users, and actually outdid Revolut in acquisition versus Revolut. So that was obviously a huge win there. So generally, yeah, I had a lot of success in my career, but saw a lot of issues in the marketing field in crypto, and I just wanted to basically build something that was a lot better. Hence, I founded my company.
Like real marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems, to be honest, in the marketing scope.
There's marketing and there's marketing, and what's fairly unique about marketing in crypto or DeFi more specifically is it's not so much about trying to sell a product as it is a paradigm. Many marketers would approach applications in DeFi the typical way that you would do it, which is, here's a product, you like the product, here's some sexy people on jet skis, you could be one of those sexy people, use this product. But in crypto, it's education, it's empowerment, it's handing over the keys and the responsibility to the users. Exactly. It's a different kind of game to play when what you're selling is autonomy, what you're selling is knowledge, which in this space is power. And that's what makes this really a serendipitous match made in heaven. I find that you have that approach to gear into why this matters, not just what it is and how to use typical marketing tropes to get people to buy it or onboard. It's something much more difficult and subtle. And I'm very excited to see the fruits of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're very selective about, we all put our souls into our work, and that's something that's really important, especially with my team. I would never integrate a project that they weren't very, very bullish on and could put a piece of their soul in. And I think a lot of our core values aligned, and that's why we've come to this fruitful partnership. And yeah, I'm just very, very excited to give you guys the stage and the recognition you deserve. Colin, have so much respect for you, and Sid, you're a true visionary, and let's get this out there for everyone to see. It's a really, really exciting time, and I'm honored to be working with you on it.
Yeah, and the first thing we all identified was like, we want a more scalable brand that can really take us to a much wider audience, make the whole thing a little more relatable. I love that you mentioned Ampleforth as one of your other clients. I mean, they actually co-hosted that event with us in Dubai where we met and spent the week with Evan and those guys. I was actually just listening to them an hour ago. They were doing a little chat. I wouldn't say similar project in a sense, but like very complex. The task, I'm sure, as you've learned, is there's but there's more. Wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. Like when you try to explain nirvana to somebody. So if I had to just drill into a question, is like, when you think about nirvana, and one of the big reasons that we were interested in hiring you is because you already knew it quite well. You guys were users of the protocol. You had a real strong sense of what was not working, what could be improved, what's landing, what's not landing. When you think about nirvana and you think about the complexity and the depth of it, and there is a lot of depth and complexity, but it's also kind of simple on a certain level. And you see the task before you. How do we take this very complex, very deep thing that is, frankly, doesn't have any broad comparisons to anything else? What do you see as being like the journey, taking us to the 99.99% of the people in the world who don't know it exists?
I think we need to start from, the core and the bones. And that's what we're doing at the moment, right? We're building that strategy. So one of the main things that I really wanted to do right off the bat was create a look and feel that felt like we were represented in a very strong way, but also had the soul of what we were doing behind it. And I think just from the few pieces we've seen, we're already starting to feel that energy. I mean, I'm absolutely loving the new vibe, but then also it's about the messaging and the positioning. And, we've been chopping that up for the last month, right? And we're in a really good place and can't wait to release that to the community. We're almost there with it. But for me, it's like finding people that can truly understand the technical side and then bring that to market is a really magical thing. And that's definitely something that we niche in. I mean, I can go into more detail soon about the setup and what we're bringing to Nirvana. But I think it's like telling that story for the target audience, because let's be honest, it is a target audience. Not every single person in the world will fully grasp this. But how do we really tell this to the people that it matters to? And that's what we are tackling at the moment and what we're building on. And that is a beautiful process, which is already coming into fruition.
It's an interesting challenge to market and sell something for which there's no competition. It's not like trying to sell breakfast cereal where there are 20 other identical products out there. And that's often the case in DeFi. You'll see a dozen different exchanges, and they're all pretty fungible, one with the next. The features aren't all that different. So how do you acquire users? You have these strategies with airdrops, incentives, points, loyalty programs, KOLs, because you're fighting for inches to stand out from the competition. But with something like Nirvana, which is as unique as Bitcoin was in 2009, it's a very different kind of endeavor to make it widely known and widely understood.
But this is why it's so good you're on Solana, because this is the one thing that we are going to be actively doing is leveraging the ecosystem. I've got a lot of friends that are pretty high up in Solana, and seeing what they do to actually push forward the ecosystem is incredible. That's why they're so successful as a chain. It's been remarkable seeing what they've done with the super teams and building little hubs in each jurisdiction to actually really reward the builders on there and the communities and the products that are actually driving value. So as a first point of call, what we're going to be doing is making sure that we're really leveraging the ecosystem we're in before we expand to obviously multi-chain. And I'm very, very excited about working with Solana native protocol. So
well, and Samsara really is a marketer's dream in the sense that it's an opportunity to build with everyone. like if you have a token and you're on a chain, you can engage with us. We can build with you. We can permissionlessly, but obviously it's nice to work together with people. What would you say? There's a lot of talk. I mean, we just talk about marketing. Like in crypto, there's a lot of attention marketing, right? Which is like, hey guys, look it over here, look at it. Like, and to Sid's point, like there's not a lot of direct competition with Nirvana in the sense that we have a product that is unique, but there's a ton of competition for Nirvana in the sense of like, I have some USDC, I'm a speculator, I want to spin it up into $1 million. Where am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? That's the competition. And there's a ton of it. And there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of energy and, the KOLs and that. So when we split, because I think there's two different things here that it's all kind of under this umbrella of marketing, but there's marketing and then there's like grabbing people's attention. They're not entirely the same thing. I think the attention piece comes a little later for us, but I don't know. Just speak to that a little bit. I know it's been a hot topic in the community this week.
For sure. I think something that we need to build on is a true strategy, right? You guys have done so well and actually cultivated an incredible community without having a marketing arm fully functional. And really that's because of the tech and because of the people behind it. So hats off to that. But as we move into this next stage, as we bring Samsara to market, as we start to onboard partnerships, this is where we really need to figure out how to build that long-lasting strategy. And my approach is never hype building metrics. I want to actually build real TVL, real community members, people that are genuinely like diehard fans. And as Sid and Colin, as you both know, we've got plenty of plans to really ignite the current community and reward them for their work so far, ensuring that they're properly integrated into a cohesive planned execution and strategy. So it's like, we've got a roadmap. Fantastic. How do we all collectively build behind that and bring it to the masses? And for me, that's the differentiation between real technical excellence and just pure hype bullshit.
Well, hype, yeah. I've worked with a lot of founders in the last 6-7 years. A lot of red flags that come up, like, how can we create a token sync? Let's cliff the investors. If they can't sell, then the price will go up. Like, it's just the wrong approach, right? If you have a founder or a team that's focused on price, focused on, how can we get people to buy? Like, you get people to buy it by making a good product, by offering them something in return for that purchase. In this case, an asset that you can stake that has a negative interest rate loan when you borrow against it, that self-repays itself, that can't be liquidated. That's a pretty cool fucking product. Like, I mean, that's what got me out of bed when I was like, okay, Sid, I think I'm ready to take a role here. Like, this is something I want to eat, sleep, and breathe. When, on the other hand, when it's too much focus on price, on token, buy, sell, it's a real red flag. So that's not what's going on here, obviously. And when it comes to this attention marketing stuff, I think there's a place for it, for sure. Like, you want eyeballs. Right now, I think we're in a phase, I know we're in a phase where, like, you kind of want to tidy your house before you invite everybody over. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of features that Sid and I and you and I and the whole team, and I want to get into your team in a bit. You got a pretty cracked team that we've been working with. But there's a lot of features that we want. We've identified some key things, the moving floor, right? Trigger price can be a great way to raise the floor. What if every buy, sell, and borrow was additive to the floor, where the floor was 6 decimal points across and it just fizzed upwards? Like, these are really real cool, awesome things that are coming. I don't really want to do an attention marketing spend until those things are in place. So there's a little bit of this chicken and egg going on right now, where we're building out the brand and all that. And anyways, you coming in with this, it's just been pro through and through. So I've been really impressed with what you guys have done. We finally got the brand out, which, as you know, was a major excitement for me, because there's a lot going on that I'm just like, I just want to, run. And yeah, for the first month, it's been quiet on as far as like outward facing, but here we are. And this is actually our first rebranded Ben Zimmer powered production.
How did we feel about the new production, guys?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you want to get a sense of where we are, where we're headed, it's the night and day between me putting on a stream with Sid, the last few, which is just me. Like, and I had a lot more production power years ago, but it's night and day. You guys can see it. I mean, we have a moving background. It's the little things. When people show up, you got to be polished. And so, anyhow.
Exactly. Before we go into that hyper growth mode, we've got to make sure that there's super clean exterior to come back to. There's proper explainers really outlining the protocols so people can come in well educated. We've got that army of ambassadors that are warm and welcoming and ready to pick up campaigns when we need them. And there's no point, going into that hype mode before we're really solid in that area. And that's what we're going to do as soon as we can. And we're already acting as fast as possible. But yeah, we're in a very good spot, and I'm very happy with where we're at now.
I think Sid wanted to say something.
Just to underline something that you said earlier, that the primary responsibility we have with Nirvana is just build a product that works. Just do a good job. Everything functions. It's stable. It's solid. It's perfect, and it's finished. And Nirvana is intentionally very austere in that sense. It's austere in that it's not driven by hype. The value of the way you evaluate the success of the project is just, does it work? Does it do the things that it's meant to do, which is permanently store value and the other features that we know. And the strategy with Samsara is then to have the other side of the coin with marketing. Samsara is intentionally not austere. It is connected to other projects, other tokens, other ideas in the space. and it drafts off of the energy of those, and it plays that game and some of the status quo with hypes and attention. And, yeah. So there's both sides to this. That nirvana stands like a block of marble, and it doesn't play the game of ephemeral attention and hype. It's meant to just endure and be what it is. Samsara is where, for better, that we can have more fun with this. And one of the other purposes of samsara is to get people accustomed to this kind of derivative. Floor season, to get people used to this concept and come to accept it. There was a time before there was such a thing as a perpetuals exchange. Now we see them everywhere. Those were invented before that. They never existed. Now we come to accept them as a fact of life. And that same kind of gestalt shift will happen as the samsara project expands and bleeds over into other blockchains and other communities. And it'll just be the air that we breathe in the next couple of years. Assets should have floors.
Yeah, tell us about your vision, Sid.
It's simply that in short order, all new digital assets will have price charts with 2 lines on them.
Hell yeah.
And they'll be the legacy ones, and they'll be seen as legacy. You'll look at an asset and see the price chart on TradingView, and you're like, where's the floor? This is a legacy asset. Why should I hold this? It could go down 90% at any given time. You're telling me that market makers are the ones who are propping up the price? Ew. Why don't you have a protocol that's managing the liquidity? Why do we even need these ghostly third-party market makers in the mix?
Yeah,
it's the same kind of psychological demand that we make on decentralization or permissionlessness. Being centralized is a dirty word in crypto because we have perfectly viable decentralized options. It wasn't always like that. Now it is. And we've come to raise the bar on what we demand from finance. The same kind of paradigm shift will happen with market making, reserves, and liquidity. We'll just come to demand that things have reserves that back them, that prices are protected to the low end, and that markets are purified so that it's just buyers and sellers speculating in a perfectly fair market. And you don't have a third-party market maker who's saying, oh, no, you don't, and taking liquidity out and soft rugging like that.
We don't
need a better world.
We live in a world right now where you need them. And so they can set their price. They can set their $1 million bond on a certain price. I'm not going to get into it. We've seen some really nasty tricks played. And you are at the whim of market makers. And there are some good actors out there. I know a few. We worked together on things before. They're great. They do a job. They pull a profit. It's actually not as profitable as everyone makes it sound. Like, the market makers are always making money. It's like they get stuck with a lot of garbage inventory a lot of the time. And that's why they charge an arm and a leg. Look, we don't need to have all that, right? There's a way we can code around that. We can make it more trustless. And in crypto in particular, or specifically, there's a strong preference for trustless systems. People are showing a strong preference for Bitcoin over US dollars. That's why it keeps going up versus US dollars. I think there's going to be a very similar preference for the way you've designed the markets. And I just want to be a part of that ride. That's why I'm here. I see it. The vision is pure, powerful, and beautiful. So
you're facing the extractionary market and what we've seen, especially in the last year, head on and fixing that. And that's very admirable. And everyone should be excited to be a part of that. They really should.
I think they will be, right? I think, this is the narrative, right? This is the narrative that has already emerged. It's it's almost like you came, V2 launch in January, right as the most in-your-face extractive period took place, right up until like the president of Argentina was just tweeting out rugs. It was insanity. And so it was this really beautiful thing, almost in a serendipitous way, because the problem that you are addressing with this design, I should say is never been more prevalent. Like that problem just hit center stage in January, February, March, and it's in people's minds now, and there's certainly craving for a solution, and we're hearing about it with things like new ways of doing fair launches and all the rest. And there is a problem here. It's very well known now, and there's a lot of solutions coming to market. None that solve the market making piece so purely. So I love it. But I want to pivot here real quick, Maya, to your team. You are not a solo actor in the game. Tell us about your team. Tell us about your company.
Yeah. My team I respect these individuals and have a lot of love for them. They're incredible beings. I'm honored to be working with them on a daily basis, truly. So my right-hand man is Full Stack Dev, and he's my co-founder. And he's the guy that basically comes in and says everything that's wrong with the clients that we work with, and we love him for that. He comes in and looks at the protocol, the revenue streams, the technical side, the UI, the UX, the operations, and rebuilds it all from scratch. And he's an incredible person. He's like the yin to my yang, truly. So I'm very client facing and have, deep connections and very creative, and he's very analytical and obviously is a dev and mathematical, and he's the one that manages the treasury and stuff and has been teaching me all about Nirvana. So that's Victor. And then the rest of my team, just want to say, like, we're all users of Web3. So I've had the luxury, obviously, being a leader in the Web3 space for so long that I've done a lot of hiring in my time. So when it came to actually launching Benzema & Co., I got to hand select all the best people from various teams that I'd worked with to join me on this mission. And I'm proud to say not one person denied. So we're actually a team of 13 now. Most of those individuals are working on Nirvana. We've got skills from 3D art to, the guy that did all of this incredible presentation and set up all the back end. We're all very, very technical, to technical copywriters, to normal traditional copywriters, to graphic designers. Really the sky's the limit. So honestly, if the community want to see anything in particular in marketing, I'd love to see that, because we do really have a stacked team of individuals ready to deploy. And very excited to put them all to work. And they're also very excited. And honestly, like a huge shout out to all of them, because we wouldn't be here without them all. And I just appreciate them so much. They're amazing. You guys have met them as well. So
yeah.
Ditto to everything you said. I appreciate them so much too.
Love it.
It's hard to find a good marketing hire in crypto. There's a lot out there. It's just hard to find them. I've got 10 in my DMs on any given month that are like, sometimes like, weird misspelled intros, like, hey, would like marketing, how, and it's a bit of a slog fest. I was super impressed with you guys on day one, and said, look, let's get together. Let's jam on this for the next few months. It's always this trial, right? Like, let's see how it goes, but it's just blown away from day one. And one of the things you mentioned, Victor, I got to give him a shout. I spoke to him for about an hour and a half this morning. One of the things I love, and you don't get this, especially when it's not like a full in-house marketing department. You guys are doing some fractional stuff. You're working with a couple other teams. When I talk to him, it's never just the thing we called to talk about. He goes, I had 2 other questions, and he'll ask a question. I'm like, damn, like you stayed up all night thinking about Nirvana last night. Like I get this intense impression that you guys are all sleeping and breathing our brand, even though I know you slide into some other meeting with Evan over at Ampleforth tomorrow or whatever. Like you got your hands in a few projects here, which is your business. But I never get the sense that you guys aren't just in-house with us every day. And it's fantastic.
We'll never do that. That's the whole point. We're never going to be like an agency model. It's
You remember when I hired you, I said, what does our week to week look like? Like if I just need to talk to you real quick, is it going to be like, well, our meeting's not till Thursday? And it's like, you guys are literally just in-house. So you know, and the two people have already asked, like, hey, could you introduce us to them? I'm like, no. Sorry, no, I can't. I'm going to help promote your brand someday, but right now,
This is the point.
all
We've
your
got such incredible talent, and we really know what we're doing, that we actually can have, like, you know, a few clients fully on the books and be fully dedicated and still deliver, but we'll never be expanding too much and things like that. You know, we really want to focus and build with you guys, and it's wonderful.
I'm just kidding. If you guys ever need business, let me know. I'll send it your way. But for now, I'm loving the level of engagement, and I'm not sharing any of that with anybody. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
We had an AMA channel set up in the Discord. I think this might be a good time to head over there. There's a lot of
yes.
So June 11th, was that this week? When Samsara?
Ooh, we love a when question, don't we?
Yeah, we're gonna get that each time. I love it. I asked you that yesterday, so it's. I'm not gonna act like I'm above that question. I love to ask you this question, Sid.
When expect to have a DevNet demo in less than 3 weeks, and mainnet soon thereafter. It's ending it's entering into audit very soon.
Yes.
And we want to get people's hands on it via a demo, gather feedback on features. We're doing quite a different design with this to learn from the way Nirvana was packaged and make it better, more streamlined, more intuitive, more easy to navigate. So I expect that after the demo is released, we'll get a flood of feature requests and opinions and fold those into the product. It's coming up soon. It's coming up very soon.
Beauty. Nate asks, how many devs are on the team, full, part-time, and how long have they been working on the protocol? What's the marketing plan? But we just talked a lot about marketing. So really, like, how many devs? Maybe talk a bit about our team, Sid.
There's 3 full-time devs, including myself. Been together for years. We expand the team with contractors where needed. And this goes with design and backend. And of course, you also hire auditors. We don't have an in-house auditing firm, but 3 full-time developers.
Yeah. And then that dev shop you guys have been working with.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to name them. Peck
I don't want to name them because I want their business too.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. No, you can't hire our dev shop. Thank you very much.
Seriously, it's Humanda, and if you're a founder in Solana, I'm sure you know them. They are crackerjack, and they work on many things and do excellent work. And it's the same kind of dynamic that we were just talking about with Ben Zimmer's larger team, which is just Nirvana's very addictive to work on and to approve and think about. You know, we all lose sleep over it.
Yeah, me too. That's mostly why I'm here. David mentioned, Peck asked, David mentioned strategic partnerships for the Samsara launch. Can you hint at who they might be?
No. Let me turn the question around. If you're listening to this and you'd like to talk about a Samsara listing and be there on the ground floor, reach out to us.
Boom. Yeah, look, golden rule and stuff like this is you don't talk about things that aren't signed on the dotted line. It's just how it goes. You guys don't want to hear. Trust me, you don't. There's a lot of guys in the Discord that are like, I want more comms. I want to hear like the granular progress. I'm like, no, you don't, because there's successes and failures in growth. And if I bored you with each and every call that I had and the yeses and the nos and the curveballs and the windy road, it's not something you really put out in the roadmap each week. So
Samsara is it's an interesting proposition to other companies. It's interesting because it's almost too good. If you want to be listed on Binance or a centralized exchange, you have to grab some of your tokens from somewhere and lend them to a market maker. You got to reach in, scoop them out from somewhere. Quite often, the pie charts that you'll see for things called tokenomics are because these projects are thinking down the road, how are we going to pull this off? So we hold back some of our supply in order to make this happen. It's a mess. Similarly, if you're going to, say, integrate with a margin protocol, a credit protocol, you want to get your token listed as a collateral so that the holders of your asset can borrow against it. There's a very real cold start problem to get credit capital nice and liquid on these third-party lending brokers.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, you have to reach into your treasury or go through a DAO vote, I don't know, and seed liquidity. There's a very real cost function to these kinds of integrations.
Yeah.
You can see where I'm going with this. The nice thing about Samsara is that there's none of that. There's no cost to being listed because of how liquidity is a property of a nirvana-fied token, and liquidity bootstraps itself. So what comes down to the decision to partner, cross-promote, it's really just a question of how festive do we want to make this? Should we make this a very large party with this listing? And there's no cost when it comes to liquidity. And that's always the dominant part of the conversation. And so like, wait, we don't have to lend you any tokens. You don't need any money from us.
Yeah, what's the catch?
What's the catch? What's the catch? Turns out with crypto, you can do things without catches. That's funny. When you remove middlemen,
it's no wild. Catch. Yeah. Well, and for anyone who's curious, and we're here to talk about what we've been working on. I talked about hiring Ben Zimmer over a month ago, and so a lot of people are like, okay, like, what are you guys doing? One of the things, and this has been not a blocker, but a task for us is, well, you ask this question, as the brand as it is, with the assets we have, with the story we're telling, is this scalable? Is this the best way to take this product and take it to 1 million users? And it's just, the answer was no. So we've been really sitting there in the kitchen cooking on this brand, which is more than just the visuals. The visuals are the part that I find most appealing when I think of a brand, because that's how my brain works. But when you talk to someone like Maya, she explains it's like, no, there's a voice, there's a story, there's a message, right? This is like, how are we going to reach the most people? And that is all the stuff we've been developing, right? When someone gets into the elevator with you and says, what's Nirvana? And you have 2 minutes to tell them about it. What are you going to say, right? Good luck with that. I still don't have it down to 2 minutes, but these are the kinds of things, and all that going into pitch materials. So pitching projects, pitching partners. When I get on calls with these handfuls of different projects and movers and shakers in various ecosystems, what am I going to tell them? Exactly what are we offering? Exactly how is this going to work? These are all the little back end nuts and bolts right now that we've been powering through in the last couple of weeks, such that when we have that deck in hand and I can just get on a call with the founder of Project XYZ and say, this is the product, this is what we'd like to do. Would you guys like to co-market with us? Again, we can permissionlessly launch 500 markets on day one, but who's going to play in them? The most powerful way to go to market is with co-marketing. I mean, you could speak to that, Maya.
Yeah, no, just on that partnership marketing is going to obviously be a huge part of the Samsara go-to-market. And we're already speaking to some big players, and it's been a very, very important piece to get that messaging right, and also each tailored pitch to each partner that we might want to collaborate with. And we're being quite picky about who we do initially launch with. And Colin, you're obviously working a lot on building up that list that we want to attack. So this is a huge part of what we're working with, and I'm just very, very excited for Samsara summer, to be fair.
Sid, you made a really good point that there's not a whole lot of reasons that you wouldn't want a Samsara market built on top of your token. It's purely an additive play. The biggest blocker for us is brand and recognition and trust, right? If I'm not going to name a project. If I'm a large project with a lot of token holders and we approach that team and we say, here's the product, it's going to unlock native borrow lend, it's going to unlock yield. There's really no explicit downside or cost or lift for you and for your users. The only reason that I can think of that somebody would say like, I don't know, is because they don't know who we are. And they don't know for sure that this protocol will work. They don't know that it'll work as designed. They can't say for sure that there wouldn't be some kind of exploit or some terrible thing happen. It's the trust. It's the brand, right? So that is the big thing that we're just building up and working on and getting together so that we can take that to each one of these calls. And if we can get live, which is the goal, with some existing brands that already have that trust, that already have that recognition. I mean, that's the bar. And that's what we're heading at day after day right now. We have 3 calls on the books in the next 10 days to that effect. And probably 3 per day after that.
I'll identify by my sights the only downside to listing with Samsara. And ironically, it's if it works too well. Let's say there were a Samsara market for Radium's governance token. Radium is a decentralized exchange on Solana, and they have a governance token, Ray. It's quite liquid. There's about $700 million of it floating around right now. If there were a Samsarified Ray token and it's gobbling up all of the Ray in supply, and it's multiplying and amplifying the price, market cap, liquidity with ZenRay. So now this token that has about a $1 billion FDV now has a $5-10 billion one because it all fell into this black hole of Samsara. There's no Ray left circulating. Everybody thought, you know what? I'll just get ZenRay. I'll get the Samsarified Ray. I'm making more money with this. I'm getting leverage. I'm getting yield based off of this. And then the Radium protocol is like, dang it, all the governance token has been gobbled up by this machine. Yes, the price went up, but ostensibly it was supposed to be used for something to govern. That's really the only downside that I can think, is if Samsara succeeds too well and sucks up all the tokens in supply. I suppose as we're thinking about Nirvana, there is a ceiling to how large Nirvana can get, and the ceiling is USDC liquidity, which is based on the US Treasury market. So it kind of tops out at about 3 trillion. And then there's no more USDC because it all turned into ANA, and ANA becomes the unit of transfer. Apart from that, though, apart from magnificently pumping someone else's token and sucking it all into a massive reserve, there's really no downside I can think of. Can you?
No, like attacking their utility. I just mean, yeah, like I'm thinking like skeptical founder's hat. They're going to just be like, this sounds great. I don't know if I believe you. Like that's the blocker, right? It's like, we just need them to trust us. And so it's the first few dominoes to fall are so critical. And that's what we're really putting our heads together on. It's not a off the cuff. I could get on a call with the team tomorrow and just be like, hey, what do you think? I really want to polish that. I want to get it right. The messaging needs to be sound. We're really pretty much there. It's kind of what I was meeting with Victor about today, just finalizing some of that. So it's all just right there. Gradually, gradually, and then suddenly has never been more true in my mind as far as the fire that is kind of brewing beneath this whole product line. So let's get back to the questions. That was a good one. So shout out to Peck for sending us down that rabbit hole. Hogo Fogo says, why do UI problems keep happening with the sudden price spikes? I think they just answered this, something to do with an RPC.
Yes. Unfortunately, RPC providers can glitch out from time to time and report incorrect data. All projects are plagued by this, and some handle it better than others. Thank you for bringing attention to that. I thought I had scrubbed these erroneous reports from the database, and we need to do that again. To be clear, if I can just put on a CTO hat for a second, with crypto projects, there's always these 2 components to them. You have the blockchain, which is where everything matters. That's the source of truth, the database, the state of the chain. And then people build applications that try to make this usable, trying to get updates in real time and draw pretty line charts. And you don't get that from the blockchain itself. The blockchain is a very simple input-output machine. It holds the data, but it doesn't present it in a way that is useful for a sophisticated application. And so what companies end up doing is they build their own off-chain data warehouses. They're copying things from the blockchain, putting it into a database so that they can create these line charts. And occasionally when you're pulling data from a blockchain, everything has bugs. Occasionally the servers, the RPC providers can have a glitch, or they could be down for a few hours, or they could be stale by a day. All of this to say, virtually any time that you see something in a web application for a crypto project, if it seems surprising or wrong, the first thought should be that something's busted off-chain. Something happened in the off-chain storage that doesn't really reflect the ground truth of what's on-chain, because there are these massive stacks of applications wrapped around them. Anyway, thank you for bringing that up. It's a glitch. We'll get it fixed.
I haven't seen that one in a while, but raise your hand if you've ever had your heart explode when you looked and saw the on price at like $11. You're like, huh, hold up. And it's like, bink. And I refreshed the page. I'm like, oh, it was that glitch. It only happened to me once, but it was a very exciting moment. It's okay. Well explained. Appreciate that.
I've worked on projects. I can remember the day where one of the RPC providers, which I shall not name, just had a problem with how they do replication and backups, and the data they were returning was old it was like last week's data. They were suddenly returning things from last week. You would ask, what's the state of the program? And you're getting something from 7 days ago. And all the alarm bells started ringing, all the checks, everyone's pagers start buzzing. And you talk to the RPC provider, and 20 other DeFi protocols are hammering them at the same time. Like, what's going on? Everything's broken. And it just turned out that they had a bad database upgrade or something, and Solana was fine. Thankfully, nothing that dramatic has happened with Nirvana, but these things do pop up from time to time. And I really appreciate that people are in the Discord and can file tickets right away.
Yeah, there's been a few questions about the UI update as well. And that is on the way. Underway?
Like rebranding the app?
Yeah, we're working on that right now. So there'll be a fresh feel in the...
Yeah, I really wanted it. I mean, me and my non-dev brain was like, we can do this for the rebrand. It just would have meant pushing the whole thing back a week. Yeah, we did. We took a shot at it, but
we covered social and digital at least.
Yep. And then you arrive to the app and it's the old one, and in whatever, a week or two, you think? Probably be gone forever.
UIP.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of questions here. Honestly, a lot of them are for you, Maya. Obviously, today's your day. It's your big coming out party.
Hit me.
Well, here's an interesting one. I'm going to mash one up for you here. Sahand asks, is there a write-up in the works for the Temple campaign? There's not much to show for that epic demonstration proving the floor. So here's the question I'm going to pose to you.
Yeah.
That was pre-Ben Zimra. And that was my idea that I wasn't even on the team at the time. I said, you guys should prove the floor on a DevNet. And Sid's like, that's great. We'll do it. And Sid, you can speak to this too, right? There's there's pre-Ben Zimra and there's post-Ben Zimra and how we think about marketing. How, and we are going to do it again, how would you do it differently to better capture the moment, to better promote it pre, during, post? Let's just lay that Ben Zimra filter on it. I'm going to put you on the spot with a little case study.
We've been having talks about doing it potentially with the first Samsara market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be very interesting in collaboration with the partnership and getting their eyeballs on there, making it a full production. Obviously, we've got this production power now. We can share our screens, really build the hype around it, all be in the chat. So I think that would be a wonderful way to go about it. Let's get our first derivative and really test it out with another community and see the power of it. That would be epic. So that's kind of what we're aiming for internally.
Mm-hmm. And more cameras. The one thing I always wished we had is just like better views. You could take the content that we had from that stream, even the moment. I remember the moment it happened, Sid and I were just chatting because it was taking like 20 minutes. So we're just like, well, we're not going to stare at it. So we're just going to start chatting. And I think we spoke through the exact moment where the floor came in, and I was like, wait, Sid, stop for a sec. Look, like it's happening. And, I want some stats. Like I want stats on exactly how much was sold into the floor. I'd love to see 100% of the supply go in. There's a lot of things to improve on. What we've been talking about internally is making it a quarterly event. I think DevNet makes a lot of sense for Samsara, because you're going to get this new wave of users and awareness every so often. Let's call it quarterly. And I think if it's rinse and repeat, it doesn't take much to spin it up for maybe a week and just have it again. I mean, it's one thing to see a video about it happening. It's another thing to get to go in and touch it. So I see Sid making a face when I say run it quarterly. I promise you, it won't be as much work next time. You did the whole thing last time.
Have a team behind you now.
Yeah, I'm the only one on the team who I guess I'm just too close to it, or it's extremely boring to me.
Yeah.
Yep. You know,
Oh, look, 4 plus 4 equals 8.
Break the floor because 2 plus 2 equals 4. Sure, let's do it again. Let's load up the gun.
Saying something till the cows come home, but when you see it, feel it, touch it, that's when it really, really hits home. So
I know my gears were turning of thinking of how to just create an isolated Nirvana on the fly for anybody, where they can just play the game like a Sim City, and just have people buy and then tell them to sell, and you can sell yourself and see that it works. For the benefit of everybody on this call, what we're referring to is there was a campaign, I want to say maybe 3 months ago, a campaign to create a simulated Nirvana. It was an exact copy of the Nirvana, but it was put on a DevNet. So all the tokens are fake. There was no cost to do this. And the purpose of it was to say, let us show rather than tell. And the most salient property of Nirvana is the fact that there is a mathematically assured minimum price for the asset. That's the main lead with this. But in reality, no one really sells into the minimum price, because once you hit the minimum price, the risk asymmetry goes to infinity because it can't go down anymore. So people buy. And it's probably not going to happen that in reality Nirvana ever hits the floor. Rationally, it wouldn't happen. So we thought, let's create a DevNet, and intentionally together, everybody can just try to break it. It turns out this is logistically difficult because you have to coordinate a mass hysteria to cause everybody to sell into the floor. Well, not technically everybody, but a sufficient amount of people. So that's what we did. Spent a couple weeks on DevNet encouraging people to build it up to be as big as possible, push ANA to $10, $20, $30, $40. I can't remember how high it went. And then count down from 10 and say, go. Now everybody chaotically sell like your life depends on it. And if anybody can break the protocol, if anybody can sell an ANA token for beneath the floor price, I'll shave my head, do an ice bucket challenge, and send you $50,000.
And pay me $50K. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's what we did. And you're right to point out that this is a pretty big deal to demonstrate with real money on the table. It couldn't be broken even if you tried. We probably should be a bit more forward with a little documentary about this event. Well, We'll just do it again.
Okay, hell yeah. Break the floor documentary. Love it.
Yeah. And like people are coming in now and we're telling them about it. And I think that was the nature of Sahan's question, is kind of like, okay, we did this incredible thing. It proved that the floor works. How do I share that with the world? And so a few more cameras next time, a little more strategy around like post and capturing the moment. These are all notes of mine, but I know that that's something you guys are cooking up for the DevNet, which we will likely be running it on next.
That is what we'll do. We'll have DevNet with various assets and have fun with it.
And just play. Yeah.
And, see if you can crash it.
Come and break me, please.
Come and break
while
it.
you have your CTO. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. While you have your CTO hat on, Incrementalist asks, can you share code snippets to fetch on a market and floor price for independent scripts outside of Nirvana webpage?
I can do that. I'm not going to be able to do it by waving my hands on camera right now, but We have an API, just a web API, so you can pull data directly from there. There will be a full-featured SDK to go with it for you to be able to create bots for arbitrage or whatever analytics tools. I really believe in, if not open source, openness with software. Part of the joy of crypto is that anybody can get in and work with these programs. And so it is coming soon on the heels of the Samsara launch to say, here's the Nirvana SDK. Have fun with it. Build projects on top of it. Build your own dashboards, build your own tools, build your own bots, or compose with your own DeFi applications. You're creating a borrow lend. You want to use on as collateral. Here's the program. The only reason that hasn't been released yet is it's difficult to get this exactly right. I just do not want to release code that then breaks a couple months later because of upgrades. But it will come, and it will be stable and useful. That's what I believe in.
Love that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Excellent. I know that question's come up before, so everyone's keen to play with this stuff. So I wanted to get that in. Pass if says, this is a spicy one. Thoughts on a different fair launch approach for Samsara markets? For example, whitelist current honest stakers for what he's calling VC spots, where they can invest but only borrow against the floor price instead of selling. In other words, if there was like a day one launch on Samsara, it would be whitelisted for honest stakers, but only in the amount they could buy but never sell.
Yeah, fair is it's a difficult word to define, isn't it? What makes a launch fair? Quite often, the problem that pervades launches, the very specific flavor of unfairness, is that insiders have access to an asset at an unfair price, which is to say, just not a public price. That the market is not purely public. This happens not only with token launches, but with raises. Often a deal with a VC would be, yeah, we'll give you the token for 20 cents on the dollar today in a pre-sale. And then when it's initially publicly offered, the price will be 5 times as much. Good thing you've got that order flow. So that's unfair. And that's not a problem that Samsara or Nirvana runs into, because the market just is public. The price just is what it is. There's not a second kind of price for presale or whatever. As far as access to the token, the ship has already sailed on the first Samsara launch, whatever token that may be. That we already set an expectation that if you participated in that fake break the floor campaign that I just mentioned, the incentive to participate in that campaign was having early access to the first Samsara market.
Whitelist.
So for better or worse, that decision's already been made. It would be, it wouldn't be fair to go back on that and open it up to other people. Another thing that makes things fair is, I guess you could say, making the price organic. That there should be an incentive to be first. After all, it's a buy low, sell high world. But with software like this, being able to be first is too easy to be botted.
Yeah.
And there's an unfair advantage towards people with technical know-how that goes against the grain of letting things be accessible to ordinary humans. The way we are addressing that, it's a very simple, effective tool. It's tried and true. It's called a Dutch auction, where at launch, at the very microsecond that the launch is made public, that it's turned on, there is an artificial boost to the true price. The price is boosted, and this boost decays quite quickly over time. What this means is that buys still push the price up, sells still push the price down, but so does time at the initial launch. There's still good reason to hurry up and be first, but it slows down the mob rush on a token. Because while that Dutch auction is in play, there's no guarantee that being first will give you the edge. It might not. And that just slow rolls the price discovery for an asset. And it's a global world. We don't want people to need to roll out of bed at 4 a.m. in whatever time zone they're in order to participate in this. That's also not fair. So there'll be a Dutch auction. There'll be a whitelist, which was the incentive for the Temple of the Floor. And there'll be many, many, many more samsara markets thereafter. Adding these kinds of incentives to say, yeah, you need to hold some ANA in order to participate in the first 24 hours of the market is interesting. It feels a little cheeky to me. It's something that we'll need to consider. It ultimately, the incentive there doesn't quite work out because somebody could just meet the minimum requirements by buying $1,000 of ANA, staking it for one day, and then selling it. So there's no real way to guarantee that value is sticky. These kinds of games usually turn into perverse incentives anyway.
The gamification or the people gaming it comes through. People are very smart. They're very the ingenuity knows no bounds as far as finding ways to game it. I love the Dutch auction. David in the chat, and I think you and I had talked as well with him about this, is this idea of the fee, like the fee that starts high.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid the details. There are two ways. Okay, why not? CTO hat. There are two ways to do a Dutch auction. One is you boost the price. The other is you boost the fee. It ends up coming out the same way, where if you're paying a 50% fee, it's as if the token is twice as expensive. It just makes the mathematics simpler to boost the fee. And another big thing about samsara, perhaps the main thing, is that this boosts the value of ANA. The point of expanding the ecosystem is to send more money back to the mothership and more value. Samsara shares its revenue to the governance token holders, the prana token holders. So the revenue produced by these samsara markets gets paid out as a passive continuous dividend to the gov token holders. And when you boost the fee, that creates a lot of money in the initial rush to the front door. Buy one of these new tokens.
That's why I brought it up, because I was like, you got to drop the fee talk, because I think that's just a much cooler design. You mentioned to me, I was like, love this. Yep, send it. When it comes to Dutch auction, like you said, it's the same in the end. Let's make it a fee.
Yeah.
And then it's up to everyone, how high of the fee they think it's worth on the first day. Snipers be damned.
Yeah. So if there's initial furor of, let's say $2 million of volume for a hot new samsara market, that money split out over the supply of prana is quite juicy. That you could be seeing 50% of the value of prana returned in one day just of trading fees with this.
Yeah. That is close to it. We got a request for a bigger faucet from the start on the next. Next, I think I know who asked that, because I remember the day and they messaged me and they're like, I just spent 6 hours minting USDC and then he doubled the size, and I was like, well, you could have spent 3, and then a week later it was like quadrupled, and I did the same thing. It's all good, but we'll figure that out, because it does, but if it's too big early, then it's not great either. So it has to scale either way. We'll leave that to you for the next one. I think that's it. Got a lot of good questions. You know what? Look, the meat and potatoes of the questions, aside from some whens, which is, first of all, totally understandable, guys. I get it. We like to joke about when this, when that, but I ask Sid this stuff every other day in our meetings. I say, so when's samsara? Because I'm with you guys. We're all there together. Now, most of it was just about Maya. And I think in your intro, when you talked quite a bit extensively about your history, we went through your team. So for anyone here, listening and is saying like, oh, this specific question wasn't answered, I'm looking through them. I think most of them were just variations of things you've done, successes, failures in the past, blah, 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 stuff like that. Is there anything else you want to share? I guess if to the tune of like, hey guys, I'm here, we got this, we're killing it. Like, some, I don't know, morale boost is necessary, but there's some concerns about, oh, there's someone new. I don't know them. I never heard of them. Like, send us off with something. You're on mute, by the way. I don't know if you're Here.
Oh damn!
There you go. I know. I could hear you laughing. I could see you
Yeah.
laughing. But anything else you want to lay
No,
in?
I'm feeling pretty confident about what we're gonna do with Nirvana. Yeah, feeling great. There's been some comments about like my Twitter following and stuff, and that's fine.
Can you please address that? I got accused of mocking someone earlier.
Look, guys,
to the person who said that, I apologize.
I don't even have a personal Insta. I'm not really a social gal. I've got my head down. I'm building, and I've worked with probably like 14 crypto projects at this time of my life, and Ben Zimmer and Co have been around for a year. We've already completely rebranded and gone to market with 7 clients and had a lot of success. So we're a pretty exclusive group. We're not really out there. We're very, very well connected, have a lot of deep ties in the space. I've personally been a member of the London crypto community for 10 years and have a very deep network. We're not just an agency. We're really like a instantly deployable team of experts. Every single person in my team has got 5 to 10 years of experience, like in their specific field, whether they're a designer, a copywriter, a community manager. And it really goes beyond marketing. We've got a black book of an incredible network that we're going to bring into Nirvana as well. We're very connected in the VC side. Our primary partners are VCs that want to have a really trusted team to actually bring their portfolio clients to market in a way that they know is going to be incredibly well managed. And we're really like consultants that execute. So I understand that it's a different type of sauce or spice to the menu, and that's absolutely understandable. But what we're doing is incredibly different, and I'm pretty proud of how we work and the fact that we do it in this kind of like silently building way. Like I care about my clients' metrics, not my own. And you can Google my name. I've spoken at many events around the country. And
they did. I'm sure they did.
I'm
sure there was some steady evening of Googling going on.
Yeah, I've been
it's all
featured
good.
in many top tier crypto publications and completely doxed. So yeah, bring it on. Let's go. Let's actually get results for Nirvana, and then let's talk.
Yeah. Look, and yeah, I've been nothing but impressed since we started working together. And for anyone in the community who took some of my commentary today as offhandish or like mocking, it's like, look, guys, we're out here, we're working, we're grinding, we're working hard. There's a large team of professionals growing by the month, might add, just building. And so if I ever come into the Discord and I seem like somebody said today, you mocking me, I'm just trying to be tongue in cheek and stay light. Sid has a very good approach in the Discord. I think you mentioned earlier, like to come in and just like cooler heads prevail. I'm a little bit more like that meme of just like, ain't nobody got time for that. Like we're out here building. So if I ever seem like I'm short on time, it's probably because I'm like taking a call, doing this over here. And then somebody's like, how come your marketer has 200 followers? I'm like, I don't know. Like, that's not why I hired them. Let's move on. So we are going to move fast and furious. We have been, and you're going to see it more now, which is exciting for me. I just like to see stuff. I like to touch
We're
stuff.
on a new trajectory, so it'd be good if we can keep up the good energy and like actually really, because the heart of Nirvana is the community. So as we bring in new members and we start to really grow this project, it would be great if we could bring them into a good vibe.
Yeah.
And start on this very, very nice new wave. So
and that was the crux of my commentary today. After having some fun with a few of the people, is just like, look, guys, we want this place to be really like in January when I joined in more intensity, like just every day in there, and it's like intellectually stimulating conversations. Very smart people, a lot of pretty well connected people, just kind of lurking in the shadows I could see in there. And we just don't want a handful of concerned customers taking over the vibes. I think it's really important when people arrive that they're like, oh, this, and that's really what it was. Sid, I know you talked at length about that. Like people can just show up in this Discord and ask questions, and like 5 people just stumbling over themselves to help them understand it. There's a passion there. So bringing that back personally, lost it maybe a little bit in the last week or two in there, and we're just going to bring it back. And sometimes that takes a little massaging of the band hammer and whatnot. But
And
we'll get after it.
those roles, right? We're going to really make sure that people have that purpose in the community, and there's that kind of like psychological attachment to your role and how you can really participate and grow the protocol. So
yeah, well, look,
yeah.
The crux of my message was there's a lot of brilliant people in there. They want to be a part of something special, and they are. So, Sid, why don't you take us home?
Yeah, on this topic, we are building a movement. This endeavor is very large in scale. And the ultimate goal is to see ANA become the premier reserve asset for nation states, really a unit of value that is digital and open, transferable, useful, universally useful. Everybody on the team, on this project, on the team, is here because there's something about the promise of crypto which hasn't felt realized yet. We're in this because there's something latent in this technological paradigm that hasn't yet seen the light of day. Crypto's been, all too traditional, all too unimaginative, all too legacy so far. And this project is not just a project among projects. It's not just a token among tokens. It's not a meme coin. It's not, yet another borrow lend, but a different way of tackling, what value means in a fully decentralized digital context. And I have a background in philosophy, and that stuck with me, especially this principle that to know the good is to do the good. And if you know what's rational and what's good, doing it will just follow course. The reason why we're all together now is aligned on this mission that what we're really selling with Nirvana, what we're really marketing with Nirvana is knowledge. How this works, how it compares, how it contrasts to properties of finance and crypto that maybe a lot of people aren't even aware of. That's the ambition that we have right now, and this match with Benzimra is perfect for that kind of goal, to show and explain, teach, edify, enable, and empower people to know what's good with finance, and the rest will follow.
Boom.
Amazing.
Thank you, guys.
Love it. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys joining today, taking your time. Look, we got the CTO, we got the CMO. Y'all are busy. You got a lot to do. I do too, but I'm going to give it up to you guys for taking the time out of your day to join us in Ashram Hours, communicate with everybody. And thank you for the new threads, man. This stream presentation has been beautiful. Everyone may notice I have not had, like checking sound and all that. We have a producer. So I could not be more excited about the trajectory, as you put it, Sid. And with that, we'll be back bi-weekly, I believe, for the near future. And someday perhaps we'll crank it up to weekly. Right now we're going to go bi-weekly with Ashram Hours. So from now until next time, we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks for stopping by.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you guys.